Well, as the holiday season gets closer, many of us are eager to decorate and spread the holiday cheer.
And this morning, our GM Lee is live with experts learning some electrical safety tips for both indoor and outdoor holiday decorating. Yeah, you're not just thinking about plugging in your tree, but of course all the lights outside as well, G.
Yeah, you're thinking about a whole bunch of things. Obviously, lots of families, lots of people getting ready for the holidays. Take a look at this beautiful property here. It literally is a cottage in the city. They're all decked out for the holiday season, but we want to make sure that you're putting up these lights properly. You're using the right kind of decorations. Come on in, Brian. I'll let you come in. And so we want to give some tips for people at home watching just to make sure that your family is safe this holiday season. Joining me now is Steve Nelson with the Electrical Safety Authority. Good morning.
Good morning, G. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so
My
ready
pleasure.
for Christmas after being inside this beautiful
This is amazing. Yeah, I love it.
Listen, I love Christmas. It's my favorite time of year. I love seeing the holiday decorations, but we want to make sure that families stay safe. And
Absolutely.
so what are some of the tips that we can get?
So first thing, you start with pulling everything out of the basement, out of the attic, wherever you're getting that stuff, and you're going to be rummaging through, and you're going to be looking for your cords and making sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe I can use this cord. Maybe I can use this cord. What you want to look for is something like this, where you'd have a frayed cord, and you want to make sure that you don't use that, because that can cause an arc, cause a fire. We don't want that, so throw that out. You want to make sure you get a certified product to make sure that you use for your cords. So if you want to use power bars to plug things in, you want to make sure they're in good condition. You want to make sure that you can look on the back, and when you look at the back, you can see the certification label there.
Yes.
So you'll see on our website, esasafe.com, you'll see that there's a link to the certification markings, and it'll show the consumers what you can get for certified products.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing that we find at ESA, is that we want to make sure that we're using certified products, because you can buy products anywhere. You can buy them online, you can go to your local retailer. Always check for the certifications. In our Ontario Electrical Safety Report last year, 2024, 94% of our products that we found were related due to unapproved equipment. So we want to make sure that the consumers really focus on making sure you use approved equipment to keep your home safe.
Sometimes, depending on where you buy the product, you might see the stamp of approval, but it's not legit. So what's another good tip we can give people at home?
Correct. So a number one tip that we can see is, if you can see on the certification markings, is that you'll see maybe misspelling. You'll see that they're missing the little C on that symbol there, which means that's for Canada use.
Right.
And then obviously checking the product specs. So again, if you're using, say, an online retailer, you can actually read the product specifications, and it'll show whether it's approved for use in Canada, because it will actually declare the certification marking.
Yeah, because the rules here in Canada are different from other countries.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're all different. So we want to make sure, again, this is I love Christmas, so this is a wonderful time of year, and I want to make sure everybody is safe and happy in the Christmas holidays.
Yeah, because the reality is we do see issues around the holiday season.
Yeah.
Oftentimes you'll hear about a house fire, which everybody obviously wants to avoid, and that all comes with making sure that you have safe products.
100%. Yeah. You start with safety, and you start with actually looking at your equipment and your extension cords, your power bars, to make sure everything's in good working condition before you start plugging everything in together.
Now, I know we're talking about holiday decor, but let's say you're giving a gift item. We've got, for example, a popular gift item here.
We do. We have a nice
blanket.
electric blanket.
Yeah.
And we can see the certification on the electric blanket, which is CETLUS. It's an Intertech, which is similar to what's on probably the website, and you'll see that. And it shows that it's a certified product. So always check for that as well.
And this is regarding items like this, gift items, toys, all of that kind of stuff.
Anything that's electrified, we want to make sure it's got an approval marking on it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then buy from a reputable retailer.
Buy from a reputable retailer, and you can be assured that you're going to get an approved product for use in Ontario.
Okay, thank you so much.
No
All
problem.
really good tips. And again, if you want more information, esasafe.com. Because obviously we want everyone to have a wonderful holiday. We're going to have more safety tips coming up this morning. Safety first, and once you've done that, you can enjoy the holidays, warm up by the fire. I love this, right? Joining me now is loves a TV with a fireplace,
yes,
right?
yes.
So we were talking in our earlier segment about, prepping to
Yep.
put up the decor. Now we've got the decorations up.
Yep.
What are some of the tips you can give families at home?
So again, we talked about in the earlier segment, we talked about cord safety. So when you're pulling it out, we want to make sure that the cords that you're using are safe. We want to make sure that when you're installing it, that they're not pinched on any furniture. We want to make sure it's not under carpet. We want to make sure it's not under the tree skirt. It can overheat that way. We want to make sure that the way that you install things is safe and sound. Again, we're looking for certified products. That's on the cords and that's on the lights we use. We want to look at the lights that we have. When you plug them together, we have a kind of a rule of thumb, that we look at, 3 or as much as we want to put together. Every manufacturer will tell you kind of how many light strings can go together, but as a rule of thumb, safety at night when you're going to go to bed, we recommend using a timer. Something like this timer that we can use is a great idea because you can kind of set it and forget it. This way, you go to bed, you don't need to, did I shut those lights off or not? And again, it's for your safety. So that's always what we're looking at. And we want to make sure that you're using, again, approved cords. We want to make sure that you're using grounded outlets. You make sure that you're safe that way.
So I actually recently bought a new timer, and I was concerned because the timer was 3-prong, but my extension cords are 2-prong. Is that safe to do?
So that's safe. That means your actual receptacle in your house is grounded.
Okay.
But a lot of manufacture the Christmas lights. For example, this one here, it's only a 2 grounded outlet, which you can see on the back. So as a consumer, you can look and you can see that there's only 2 prongs. That just means the string is not grounded.
Okay.
What we don't want to do is we don't want to take a cord like this and put it into a 2-prong outlet and break this pin.
Oh, people will actually do that?
People will actually do that because they'll say, I have an older home and an older receptacle and it's a non-grounded, and they'll break this pin. Never do that.
Okay.
That is your grounded for your safety.
Okay. Now, I know that with LED bulbs, it's really changed the game in many ways.
Yes,
it has made things safer, but we still can't back away from safety because of the cords. Like that is your bigger issue, right?
Correct. The cords is the big issue because, and really anything electric, you want to protect it. You want to make sure it's safe. This is a wonderful time of year. We want to enjoy it. We want to have friends over. We want to have celebrations. We don't want anything, misusing or abusing those cords. Again, you also want to look at the amount of years that you've used the cords and the strings and the decor that you're using, because if it's 10 years old, it eventually become brittle and break, and then you're exposing the insulation. So that's why even not just cords, but even the strings and the decorations that you're using that are electrified, we do really want to make sure that everything is in good working order.
Let's talk about our furry friends, our pets.
Okay. Our pets, they, for whatever reason, love to gnaw at the wires, even outdoors. You'll see some squirrels that'll gnaw at the wires. So again, you really want to check to make sure that everything's okay. You want to do what you can to keep them out of the way of pets, keep them hidden, protected, so the pets don't actually get at them.
So when you have a Christmas tree like this and you've got the extension cords and stuff, how do you make sure that it's safe and you can keep the pets away from that?
So there's all sorts of rumors that we have that, you can put a little bit of coffee grounds in it. We've heard that, like cats specifically, they don't like certain scents, so you can maybe put some scents and, hang them by the tree. They kind of avoid the tree in general. Anything that you know your pet best of all, so what your pet doesn't like, that's kind of what you should use as a little invisible barrier to make sure that they don't decide to chew the wires. Okay,
and then lastly, I want to talk about, like, for example, extension cords like this and power strips. Oftentimes you see people overloading it, not just during the holidays, but every day with computers, phones, and everything. So what's the rule with that?
A great rule of this is something like this where you see it's a selector switch, and you will see some power bars actually have the capacity to have a mini fuse inside, which is another layer of protection. So that way, if you are overloading it or plugging too many things in the power bar, then it'll actually trip on you without actually harming your home's electrical system.
So look for power bars with like those added safety features.
Look for power bars with the added safety features.
Okay, these are all really good tips. I always say it's important to enjoy the holidays, but safety first.
Absolutely.
So if you want more information, esasafe.com. This was beautiful in terms of understanding what we can do inside, but in our next segment, we'll take you outside because there's a lot of tips there.
Absolutely, there is, yes.
As you gear up for the holiday season, lots of people over the weekend were putting up their outdoor holiday holiday lights, but you want to make sure you're doing it properly because safety first. I know I sound like a mother hen when I say that, but honestly, safety does come first. Joining me
Absolutely.
now is Steve with the Electrical Safety Authority. Obviously a beautiful home.
Yeah.
I love all the decorations, but you want to make sure you're doing everything properly.
Absolutely. So, you know, again, we talk about cord safety, we talk about how you're going to install it and how you're going to lay it out. So a couple of different things here we want to highlight is that you can use some battery lights here, and the battery lights, when you have a nice protected area like this, it does actually allow you to avoid the cords in its entirety.
Yeah.
So that is an option that we're using. And then when we want to look through for safety to make sure we have things on the cords or the sidewalks, it's nothing passing by, because I mean right now it's a beautiful day, you can see.
Yes.
But if this is snow covered or ice, you know, we don't want to snowball, we don't want to shovel it, we're going to damage the cords, we're going to break the cords. We want
Right.
to kind of make sure that the cords are nicely run. We want to avoid sidewalks, we want to avoid anything like that.
Okay.
The cords that we're running, we want to make sure that we're using an outdoor cord. You'll see that it's outdoor labeled. You can tell because it's a little bit thicker and it's more robust. It can handle the elements a little bit easier that
Okay.
way. So certainly on a cord like this is what we want to use. And then depending on what you're plugging into it, you might need 1 or 2 outlets on that. You want to make sure that the receptacle that you're using to protect your outdoor installations is a GFCI cover. So what this is a heavy duty in-use cover, and this protects the cords. So when you flip it up, you can have the cord plugged in here, you can have it coming out the bottom, and you can close this. Again, it protects it from elements, but you can see that it's a receptacle, it's a GFCI, which is called the ground fault circuit interrupter, which it's got the test and reset button. So
Okay.
if your circuit does trip, you know, water got in, it got damaged, that protects your home,
Okay.
protects your investments, and then you can just hit reset, and then you'll be able to close that.
Love it.
Now, say you're in an older home, and in an
Yeah.
older home you don't have a GFCI, but you just have the older receptacle. A good compromise is a cord like this. So it actually has the same capabilities where it's a test and refresh function. It's a GFCI, but you can see it just plugs in a standard device or a standard string of lights or decorations or whatever you have.
Okay.
So this is a great compromise if you don't have an outdoor GFCI receptacle.
All right. And then again, a
We
good
talked
reminder
about
of the
it.
timers.
Yeah, we talked about it again inside, setting and forgetting it.
Yeah.
Same thing for outdoors. You use a timer, you use an approved timer. We're looking for the approvals on it.
Yeah.
We want to make sure. And then this way you can plug it in. It plugs in, resets it for you. You never have to worry about shutting off the lights.
And this one says outdoor use. You forget sometimes a timer could be for indoor, but you want
Correct.
one for outdoor.
Correct. And then what we have here, again, we're looking at stringing up the lights
Yeah.
on the house. We have an example of an approved clip that you had. You know, it avoids staples, screws, or any other way that you think you should hang the lights. We want to avoid any kind of damage to those strings whatsoever.
Okay.
So we really want to make sure that they're safe. So using something like this is amazing. I mean, for me personally, it makes it look nice and perfect as well.
Yes.
So you have that kind of look to it for that. So then again, and when you have the lights, you want to make sure that you buy some lights. And on the boxes, you'll see indoor, outdoor lights. And it'll say right on it, indoor, outdoor, underneath that label.
And again, the rule of thumb again, in terms of how many strands we put together.
We're still looking at about 3 strands. Again, the manufacturer might tell you differently. They might say, hey, you know, we can only 2, we can have 4, we can have 5. It depends on the manufacturer, but as a rule of thumb, we like to say 3 and done.
3 and done.
3 and done.
Remember that. Don't overload.
That's right.
And for more tips, you can go to esasafe.com. Doesn't Frosty look great? And from what Bill was saying, I think we're getting snow a little bit later this week, so get your decorations up now. It's all about safety first ahead of the holiday season. Joining me now is Steve from the Electrical Safety Authority. All right, so we're going to talk about more safety tips. I'm on the ladder. What's the rule when you're on a ladder?
We have a couple rules
Yeah.
with the ladder. So what we're looking at is the size of the ladder we have right here is great. We do want to make sure we stay 3 meters away from the power lines. That's roughly 10 feet if you can think about it like that. And you know what, on a ladder, it's always good to have a buddy system. You know, in case you do have a ladder and you know it's an extension ladder and you are beyond that 3 meters,
Yeah.
it's always nice to have that buddy system, even just for your own safety as well.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we're looking up and above. Just, you know, our saying is look up, looking around, right? So we want to make sure that wherever we're moving things, we're not going to encounter the power lines. We do want to make sure, you know, this is a good point too, to take a look, you know, if we have any trees in the way.
Yes.
It's a good idea to call an arborist and or your utility to inquire about that because we don't want anything happening to your home. When you're stringing the lights, we want to make sure we're using those approved clips that we saw in the previous segment, and then we want to make sure we have a rule of thumb, say 3 strings or more, unless manufacturer says otherwise. And that's kind of what we're looking at for this.
Okay.
So this installation is nice because these lights are farther away from the power lines,
Yeah.
and they're underneath the awning here, right?
Got it. But again, 3 meters away from the power lines and trees, right?
Right, yes.
That's a big distance.
Yeah, it's big distance, but electricity, it travels, right?
Yeah.
So we want to make sure, especially if you're coming, aluminum ladder is very
Right.
conductive. And
Yes.
that's where we don't want anybody to get hurt.
But I
right?
don't think people factor in the amount of distance you need to be safe away
Exactly.
from.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's this way, it's every way, right?
Wow.
So we kind of envision a circle, right? So
Okay. And then when you have a big inflatable like this, I guess you also have to just make sure it doesn't come
we
near.
do. We want to make sure it's not coming in contact with any
Yes.
power lines whatsoever, actually.
Right.
Then, the other thing is we've enjoyed. You want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Okay. The inflatables, we obviously want to do the same thing. We want to make sure that they're GFI protected as well.
Okay.
So we always looking for GFCI protection, and that's protect your home, the electrical system,
Yeah.
and also your decorations.
Yes.
We want to make sure they're there for years and years and years to come, right?
Yeah, we want Frosty to live on forever.
Absolutely, absolutely. He does in my heart.
Yes,
So,
he does.
So anyway, that's what we want to do. And then at the end of the year,
Yeah.
what we do want to do is make sure we pack it away safely.
That's a really good tip. People
Not
forget
only
about that.
neighbors will look and say, why are they still up in July? But
Yes.
honestly, the sun will degrade the wires, right? So we talked about earlier, it can become brittle and it can break. And if they're doing that, so we want to make sure we wrap it up neatly. We don't want to make it really tight and just kind of shove it in a box or anything like that. We just want to make sure it's really put away nice and safely in a cool area, dry area. No moisture is going to get at it because we don't want any degradation of the wiring system.
Oh, so there actually is a safety reason why you shouldn't leave your Christmas lights up in the summertime.
There is, yeah. The UV rays, as much as we love them in the
Yeah.
summertime, they will degrade your wires.
Okay, so no excuse then leaving the Christmas
Correct,
lights up.
correct, yes,
That is a
yes.
pet peeve of mine, by the way. And then, of course, again, that same rule that we talked about, how many strands can you put together? What's the rule?
Focus in on 3, is a string of 3,
Yeah.
and done. So 3 and done.
3 and
Just make sure that that's what it is. And in a house like this, it works perfectly because we're able to kind of span a distance.
Yes.
You get some houses that have multi-tiered roofs and you want to put them on. Again, there's inherent danger with that just because we want to make sure the more extension cords we're using, the more we want to make sure that everything is safe, and we want to make sure those extension cords are in good working order.
Yeah, okay. You know what? I always say safety first, and then when you know that everything is done properly, then you can enjoy the holidays.
Absolutely.
Really good tips. And for more information, you can go to esasafe.com. Steve, thank you so much, and
Thank
have
you very
a
much for
wonderful
having me.
holiday.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Have a great
Christmas.
one, okay?
Thank you.